Okay.
Hello, my name is Christina Holiday, and I am a social worker at Tolleson Union High School. So, welcome to my office. And one of the questions that Pastor has posed to me is, what is my goals in working here? I'm a really big advocate of working with families, preferably, well, not preferably, but just with the history of Latinx communities. I like working with Spanish-speaking parents who really don't understand mental health. There's a lot of families who just have these biases of mental health or these precognitions of mental health, and I like to come in and bridge those gaps. So working with first generation Latinx students and their families to help them understand their mental health and help them get connected to resources. So that's one of my goals as a social worker here. One of my goals in working with DCI and TheSpot with Greenway is helping the community bridge between community resources and education. In doing that over the last couple of weeks, or in talking to my husband, Jason, about that over the last couple of weeks, I've realized that my life goal, so thank you DCI, because you guys have actually helped me come to this realization of what I want to do, or what I want my legacy to be for my children, but also for the community, is we called it being an agent for the children. And what that would look like would be partnering or meeting with schools, and then meeting with outside agencies, be it churches, be it nonprofits, be it community business owned locations or whatnot, and find out the need of the school and then bring them together to partner. And so instead of having a student, and I've seen it far too many times, a student comes in and they need a bus pass, or they need clothes, or they need this, and if they're not in a specific program like McKinney-Vento or Native American or anything, the funding just isn't there. And unless there's community organizations involved in the school, a lot of those kids go without. And I want to help that. I want to bridge that gap. I want there to never be a student who's like, or a teacher or a social worker or a counselor or anybody, say, I'm sorry, we just can't help you. I want them to say, you know what, we have somebody who can actually buy you a bus pass. You know what, we have somebody who can get you some shoes. And then I just come in and I tap into that resource that they need, and I make that connection and I bridge those gaps. And so essentially that's my goal. I want to be an agent for children. I want to help kids and families get every need met through the school, but also because there's community partnerships there. And so in being at DCI, it's really just helped me think more entrepreneurial. I've never been one who's like, oh, I want to own a business. I've always liked, and I'm being honest, I've always liked working for agencies because, or organizations, because I'm the type of person that you tell me what needs to be done, and I'll do it. So I like direction. I like when people tell me they expect of me, and I'm not one to tell people what to do. And that's what I've always thought of as being a business owner. And the other day I was talking to Pastor Felicity, and she asked me a question. She said, do you want to own a business, or do you want to be in business for yourself? And it really got me thinking, and it was like, I do want to be in business for myself. As much as I like working for agencies, there's always limits. There's always only so much that we can do. And so I realized that. And maybe about 2 weeks ago, right, Pastor, we did the women's event.
Influence Girls Night Out.
And it was an Influence Girls Night Out, and one of the things that we did, the activities, was our word for the day. And initially my word was intentionality, and then I just started thinking about it more, and it was intimacy. And it was intimacy with my husband, and I had celebrated an anniversary the week before, and it was intimacy with him. And it wasn't, we're not talking about in bedroom or anything. It was just him and I spending time with each other. We have 2 small children, so our time is very preoccupied with them. But we went, again, Felicity and her family watched our children, and we just walked the mall, and we were intimate with one another in that we were laughing, we were having a conversation, we ate, we drank coffee together, and we just spent time with one another. And I remembered how much joy I had in just being with him and spending time with him. And it reminded me of how much joy I want to have when I spend time with the Lord. I know that,
Man.
that I haven't done it with fidelity as much as I would like. And, and as a result of that, I started bringing my Bible. And, I'm a pumping mom. So every time I pump, I open my Bible and I read a scripture in Psalms, or I read scriptures because they're pretty short, and I just read and I read and I read for 20 minutes 2 times a day.
That's wonderful.
Yes. And so, again, but that word and that night really helped me remember that the intimacy, it's work, right? Like it doesn't just happen because we want it to happen. Like we have to put in the action. And when I was doing those words, and I wrote one word, and the way I doodle is I write other words around it. And from intimacy will stem joy. From intimacy will stem, happiness. It will stem, my mental health will probably be a lot healthier. And it's tough. I work with kids every day, and they come in here and they cry and they cry and they cry. And we can only do so much as social workers because essentially it's all in the home. But when parents are stressed because they just can't, it falls on us. And so I really do appreciate the opportunity to be amongst other women who believe and who love the Lord, and just have an opportunity to just connect with people. My sister did come with me, and I love her. And she's saved, but she's not a deep follower like as much as I wish she was. But she is excited about coming back to the next one.
Oh,
So
that's
exciting.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you tell a young girl in high school who is contemplating taking her own life? How would you help her as a woman of faith and a believer? I mean, of course we're not called to fix people. If we're fixing, we're definitely not counseling, how would you help her? What would you tell her right now? Let's say I was that girl and I'm sitting here going, life is just so hard. I don't know if I can make it. How would you help me and tell me from your faith?
So it's not a secret that I'm a proud, and I have a lot of honor in being a lover of Jesus Christ. I have my worship music on every single day, all day long when I'm in this office. And if a student were to come to me, or if you were that student, I would start by asking, how long have you felt like that? Like, how long has it been that you feel this way? And if there was a trauma that they experienced. A lot of the time there is some underlying trauma that these poor female students endure, and even our male students. I mean, all of them, none of them are it's not like it discriminates, it sees everybody. And I would simply just talk to them about how, even though they don't feel the love that they want to feel from their physical partners, be it their parents, their friends, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their siblings or whatnot, that there is such a deep love that the Father has for them that it surpasses everything. A lot of the times kids look at me like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. But that's because the foundation of who Jesus Christ isn't there. And I just explain to them, it's such a deep love that the only way that I can explain it is, and I use this with them, and I'll ask them, like, have you ever been outside after being in the dark house all day, and then you feel the sun on your face, and it just feels like it's like this, the sun is hugging you? And they were like, yeah, a lot of the times. And I said, well, yeah, that's how it feels like when you're walking with Jesus Christ all the time. Like, he's just hugging you, and he's like this breath of fresh air on your skin, and you just feel like so majestic. And you feel so loved, and you feel so valued, and you feel like you can take a deep breath and take that step and conquer the world because he has you. And essentially that's what we want. We want somebody to have us. We want somebody to know that we can, know that we will, and so in regards to working with them through faith, just reminding them that they have a Father who loves them so, so, so much that it will surpass any and all of their understandings, And if they lean on that truth, that they will overcome anything, even if they feel like they physically can't. Because he's done things that when you sit and think about it, you're like, how did this happen? Like, and you essentially tell yourself, it wasn't me. It couldn't have been, because I just don't know how or who or what or when. It was the Lord.
Oh,
And
that's so beautiful.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here.